Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online VGC 20 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we used the Rain team that I built in the very beginning when Series 5 rules were announced and played on Showdown with for a little bit. So playing some more games with it today. Rain didn't really come out too much in yesterday's episode, so hopefully it can feature Politoed and Kingdra a little bit more, but I hope if anything yesterday's episode was at least productive in teaching you some important lessons about, for example, team preview in VGC and how you don't necessarily need to use these strong duos on your teams to win games, and often even having them in team preview can exert a lot of pressure. Of course, the team that we're using is a rental team, so feel free to try it out yourselves. Code is linked in the description below, as well as the Showdown export. Like I mentioned in yesterday's video, this team is definitely far from perfect. I would build it, like a week before Series 5 started, so definitely a lot of things that can be improved on. So let's jump into today's episode. I'm really excited for this game. My opponent has a lot of cool stuff, especially the Scolipede, which is a Pokemon that I haven't really used or tried out very much, but I think definitely has a lot of potential. Otherwise, you've got Azumarill as well. So immediately, I think like Duraludon looks pretty good here. Politoed and Kingdra actually look solid here as well. The main problem for those two to face is probably the Togekiss and the Azumarill. We went up against Azumarill yesterday, and I think like especially Assault Vest Azumarill, we just have no matchup with Politoed and Kingdra. So want to be a little bit careful about that. So I'm thinking of leading the Duraludon. The Assault Vest helps out a lot here. Like, Duraludon Whimsicott's pretty compelling just because we could Tailwind and Fake Tears away. It's just that if I go with Duraludon Whimsicott and I want Rain in the back, I don't get to bring Rillaboom. And Rillaboom actually seems really solid here, specifically for the Azumarill, but also for Superpower into the Tyranitar. I mean, Duraludon and Whimsicott match up pretty well against Azumarill, though, and I'd like to feature Rain a little bit more, so let's go with it. We'll see if it ends up being the right decision. The question of the day today, I'm curious if you guys have seen any really cool new combinations come out from Series 5. Obviously, we went up against a Cell War Palossand the other day, which I think is really neat. You've got beat-up stuff with, like, Cobalion and Dragapult, for example. Curious if you guys have faced anything that has been super surprising and has worked out really well. Let me know in the comments below. And thank you guys, as always, for watching Road to Ranked. I really appreciate everyone coming out and tuning into the videos recently. As always, if you guys enjoy, please show support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Okay. So Scolipede comes out, which I'm actually very excited for, just because I want to see what it does. I was going to say not the lead I expected to counter Rain, but I guess it makes some sense if the Tyranitar underspeeds the Politoed, which it probably does. So I'm leaning towards Tailwinding. The Scolipede does scare me a little bit, and just going for like a Steel Spike immediately into the Scolipede, or just, Max Whirlwind. Question is whether I value an attack drop or a defense boost more. I don't think it makes that much of a difference, so might as well just maximize our damage. So Tailwind and Wormwind is a Scolipede, which I think probably goes for a Protect turn 1, as Tyranitar maybe just attacks, but don't really mind either way. Tyranitar doesn't exert that much pressure against the Duraludon. And right now, these are both two Pokemon that Rain matches up really well against. That's both good and bad. It's good because it means that I can, if anything, Fane's Kingdra just can come in and put in a lot of work, but it's bad in the sense that I'd rather have beaten the Pokemon that I think gives Rain trouble in, like, Azumarill and Togekiss, for example, because it means we'll need to play smarter with Duraludon, basically. So, looks like my opponent's going to commit a Dynamax turn 1. I would love to see Tyranitar Dynamax here, because I think that's the least threatening thing to our team, but expected to be the Scolipede. It is Tyranitar maxing, though. Okay, I'll take that. All we have to do is basically attack around the Tyranitar right now, right? I could even switch into Politoed the next turn to activate the Rain and get a super effective Steel Spike. Steel Spike into the Tyranitar. The main thing against playing against Tyranitar is just not activating its weakness policy, basically. Scolipede doesn't protect either, which I am very happy to see, so it's a free Max Wormwind into that slot, and that is almost a one-hit KO. Looks like it has Focus Sash, but of course it'll faint after this turn. Okay. So we get an attack drop, which is really nice here. However, Whimsicott will probably go down from like a Poison Jab. Ah, it's Bulldoze. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. So that's cool. That's a nice way to obviously guarantee your weakness policy to get activated, but it's only a +1 attack, so it's not too scary, quite frankly. Especially because I have Kingdra and Politoed in the back, so that is definitely a cool setup, and kind of goes to like the cool combos that I was asking about. And it's going to be Max Quake. Interesting. So he gets a Spadef boost. Okay. It actually does a lot of damage, which is pretty scary. The Spadef boost means that we're definitely not KOing that anymore. Scolipede will faint, though, so I'm hoping whatever my opponent brings in, I can just, like, Fake Tears and double up into for a KO. Of course, we'll be able to get another defense boost or an attack drop. We'll probably go for an attack drop at this point. Max Quake isn't super common on Tyranitar because you want to run like, you know, Dark Fighting, or sorry, Rock Dark Fighting and then Max Guard. So I'm curious which one of those my opponent gave up for Quake. Probably you would think maybe like Max Knuckle, just because like you want to take advantage of your same type attack bonuses. Rillaboom comes out. Okay, it's fine by me. I guess what Rillaboom does do is it's a little bit scary for Politoed to come in safely right now. I would think here you would want to just go for Fake Out into the Whimsicott and Max Quake into the Duraludon. So, quite frankly, I want to maximize my damage output against the Tyranitar right now. We've already activated the weakness policy on it, right? It's like Steel Spike. You can just Steel Spike into it and switch Whimsicott out into Politoed. Politoed should survive a Grassy Glide anyway, even if my opponent goes for it. And what conserving Whimsicott allows me to do is go for super effective Moonblasts against Tyranitar later on, as well as Fake Tears into Rillaboom. I just think Fake Out here is relatively likely. Let's see how my opponent predicts that and doesn't go for Fake Out. Ooh! They have Drain Punch, and they go for Drain Punch. That's very cool. But fortunately enough, it's not enough to pick up the one-hit KO. Tyranitar's really bulky though, yeah. After the Spidef boost, it takes the Steel Spike like a champion. So that's a really cool way to, one, activate weakness policy, and then two, have fast Rillaboom in the back. So Max Quake's just going to come out, that's fine. And that's going to KO us, yeah. Okay, so one more turn of Max on my opponent's end. Worm winning there might have been better, because this thing still does have +1 attack. However, I've got the defense boost on Politoed, I've got Kingdra, and I have Rain and Politoed, so I'm thinking I can just go for like Helping Hand Muddy Water here. I guess the only fear is if that's not enough to actually pick up the knockout. Because if it's not, what my opponent can do right now is just go for, like a Rock Fall will obviously just pick up the KO. I don't know if Helping Hand Muddy Water is enough to pick up the knockout onto this, honestly. 2 turns of Tailwind left, 1 turn of Max left. I guess we're about to find out, because that's what I'm leaning towards going for still. Yeah. Because if we get this off, I think Kingdra has... Well, actually, it depends on what my opponent's last one is, right? Like, Azumarill and Togekiss, I guess, are both a little bit scary to go up against in the back. So, yeah. My opponent having Max Quake here helped them out a lot. And it's a cool tech to see. I think without Max Quake, this match becomes substantially easier just because it means the Tyranitar is easier to knock out. But we'll get the Helping Hand off. If this was Hydro Pump, it would definitely be a KO onto Tyranitar, but I'm thinking Tyranitar might survive this with a little bit of HP. Grassy Glide's going to come out. Target's Kingdra, actually. Okay. It's enough for a 2-hit KO, though, which is very scary. And yeah, Tyranitar actually survives that. It's really impressive. It's a very specially defensive Tyranitar. That should actually seal up the game for my opponent, I think. Because I needed Kingdra as my sweeper to win this, basically. Unless my opponent targets... Actually, regardless of who you target here, I think you win. I'm going to go into Kingdra. Okay. So, yeah, Max Quake Tyranitar coming up huge for my opponent. Didn't expect the weakness policy activation as well. I wasn't really sure what Scolipede was doing there, but having Focus Sash was really good. Drain Punch was really good from the Rillaboom as well. Ultimately, just a lot of small techs that added up very quickly. So, cool to see that was my opponent's approach to going up against Rain. The Max Quake makes all the difference in this matchup, honestly. And I didn't think, like, in the beginning, I was like, yeah, if Tyranitar Max is here, I think that's really good for us. But in the end, it ended up kind of being a disaster. I still think it's possible to win this, though, because we have Perish Song. And with Perish Song, there's always an out. However, we don't have any damage at this point. It might have been better to go for, like, Helping Hand Hurricane just to KO the Rillaboom. I mean, that play is worth it if we knock out the Tyranitar, and I honestly didn't know the calc into Tyranitar there. But like I said, I wasn't confident on the KO. 3 turns of Terrain left, so I think what we do here is just Moonblast into Tyranitar, protect the Politoed. Our only way of winning, in my eyes, is a Perish Song, basically, at this point. And hope that Politoed is the slowest Pokemon out of the 4 on the field. Grassy, like, there's only 2 turns of Terrain left, so essentially Rillaboom will get 1 Grassy Glide. I don't even know if this Moonblast KOs Tyranitar, so let's see. This thing has a lot of special defense. Okay, it picks up the KO. Impressive, though, especially because, as you see, I brought pretty much all special attackers. Not bringing Rillaboom in this game cost me a little bit, because my Rillaboom could have just easily knocked out the Tyranitar. But, like I said, kind of hard to fit the Whimsicott Duraludon mode, plus Rain, plus Rillaboom, right? So if I were to replay this, I don't know, like, I think, like, in a best of 3, I would consider even dropping Rain, but in a best of 1, I think Rain is just too good to pass up on, especially because, yeah, I don't know what the Tyranitar set is. I didn't know what the Scolipede was really doing there. So interesting. That's like a new way to, you know, set up weakness policy. Chandelure is the last one, which is actually interesting because this gives us maybe a shot. We have a defense boost on Poly. We'll definitely survive a Grassy Glide. The question is, do I just go for Perish Song? I have Fake Tears. I mean, Fake Tears Skull will knock out Chandelure. If I'm my opponent, I'd probably Grassy Glide Shadow Ball into Politoed, honestly. Or maybe they just opt for Heat Wave here. If they opt for Heat Wave, they should just opt for Heat Wave here, actually, right? I would think so. Yeah. Helping Hand. I'm actually going for Helping Hand Moonblast here. I don't think Perish Song is the right play to make this turn. If we KO the Rillaboom, then we win 1v1 against Chandelure. I just don't think Helping Hand Moonblast KOs here. Oh, Chandelure protects though. Wait, that's actually really surprising to me. Because we should survive Grassy Glide here. Yeah. Barry gets activated. That actually might win us the game now. I'm really surprised to see Chandelure protect there, but obviously they were expecting like the water type attack from Politoed to just go into that slot. But this is going to do a ton of damage. Oh, that's enough to... Oh, we get a crit there. Okay. I mean, that's why I went for that. Like, I didn't think we were KOing there, but I was like, what we could do the next turn is just protect a Moonblast, so it's obviously a favorable crit there. Chandelure having protect is honestly surprising. A lot of Chandelures don't even carry protect to start. Okay. So now I can just Tailwind Scald, I think. Yeah. Tailwind Scald's a guaranteed attack. The reason I Tailwind here is fear of Energy Ball on Chandelure. If you had Energy Ball, though, you probably would have just gone for it, right? But I want to scout out for it still. Actually, I think the safest play is... I don't know my Energy Ball calcs into Politoed here, whether it's enough to KO without Grassy Terrain. Because, like, I could Tailwind Scald, and then hope that Moonblast is enough to KO. The Tailwind here just ensures that we go first. Alternatively, I could Protect, but if I Protect and you Heat Wave, and you have Energy Ball, things get dicey. So I'm going to Tailwind Scald here. That Protect really caught me off guard. I thought they just needed to attack there to win the game, to be honest, but this gives us a pretty big shot at winning now. Scald's definitely a 2-hit KO onto this thing, but not enough for a 1-hit KO, as you can see. They don't have Energy Ball. Okay, it's just Shadow Ball coming out. I don't know if that's enough to knock out Politoed. Let's see. Oh, we get crit in return. I think we would have survived that, quite frankly. He's Life Orb, though, so now it's a question of whether Moonblast KOs the Chandelure. Oh my goodness. I want to say it does. I mean, Chandelures don't really have much bulk. I didn't think it would KO after the, before, like, we definitely needed the Life Orb chip damage to have a shot here. Oh, that was scary. I guess if you have Energy Ball, you would have just gone for it last turn, right? So maybe I was too afraid of the Energy Ball. Alright, let's see if Moonblast can pick up the KO. Crit for a crit, but I think that's totally fair. Either way, this game's really intense. Whimsicott does have max special attack. Timid max special attack, I should say. Ooh, and it gets the KO. That was such a crazy game. I have to say, well played by my opponent overall, though. I think the one play that I was surprised by was the Protect from Chandelure, because I don't have that much offense from the Politoed, so I'm not sure they needed to be super scared of the Politoed. I think in that position, if you just Heat Wave and Grassy Glide, I can't win at that point. But the Protect saved us, which is why I ended up going for that Helping Hand Moonblast play. Initially, I was thinking our win column was going for Perish Song, but yeah, I was like, I don't think we survive enough turns with Perish Song, so I need to just go for damage. But I do think that game we probably should have lost. Really cool stuff from my opponent, though. Love to see the Max Quake tech from the Tyranitar. Love to see the Scolipede in general. I didn't really know what it was there for, and yeah, Sash Bulldoze is really interesting. It's like, so there were so many small techs here that were really cool, right? The Sash on the Scolipede with Bulldoze, Tyranitar with the Max Quake, Rillaboom with the Drain Punch, so a lot of neat stuff there. This next team is awesome, too. So Pincurchin plus Raichu. That's actually something I meant to mention during the question of the day. Some people have been using this combination. Pincurchin's interesting, right? Because you have like Indeedee and Rillaboom everywhere right now for Terrain Wars. Pincurchin is definitely substantially underplayed relative to those, but has a lot of potential, right? This feels like a Duraludon game. It definitely doesn't feel great for Rain, because even if I go Politoed Kingdra, like, once again, Azumarill is getting really common, and that's just not a fun Pokemon to go up against as a Rain team. So I'm thinking I want Duraludon Whimsicott here because I can just Fake Tears away, which seems pretty good. Thinking Duraludon, Whimsicott, Rillaboom. Politoed is actually interesting. But does that really make that much sense? Doesn't do much damage. Thinking Togekiss instead. The only problem if I bring Togekiss is that I'm kind of Arcanine weak, but there's no way my opponent brings Arcanine into this matchup, right? Like, I'd be shocked if they did. I could go Kingdra as well, but I really think I need Rillaboom for Terrain. I think I need Duraludon. If I'm bringing Duraludon, I need a Whimsicott, so I don't know. This is kind of the awkwardness of having both Politoed and Kingdra. Like, you don't necessarily want to... Like, if you want to bring Kingdra, you pretty much always have to bring Politoed. Politoed maybe can flex in for Perish Song and Helping Hand, but I think Togekiss might be the better call here, with my opponent not having great immunes to Fairy. If we get Tailwind up, Dazzle just does a lot. We could even potentially Dynamax a Togekiss in this matchup, depending on what my opponent leads with. Either way, they have a really cool team. So, yeah, that last game was kind of eking out a win. Like, when you're from behind, you kind of need to just find... We got very lucky with the crit until Rillaboom. I think if we don't crit, what I do the next turn is probably just protect Moonblast. But I think we might have needed that crit to win, to be honest. They got the crit in return on Politoed, but I think the crit onto Rillaboom was, like, way more important. So, yeah, a game that we probably shouldn't win the majority of the time, but we get a little bit lucky to eke out with. So this is interesting. They lead with Raichu and the Indeedee, which means you can't actually Fake Out, which is a free Tailwind, like Max Darkness turn 1. I wonder if it's Sash Raichu. That would make a lot of sense. There's actually reason to not Max Darkness either. Like, I could just go for Dark Pulse, because... Am I really taking much damage here? I definitely want a Tailwind, right? And I do want to go for one of Dark Pulse or Max Darkness. I'm just not sure which one. Especially if I think it's Sash Raichu anyway. It still is going to do a little bit of damage, especially if it goes for Max Psychic on a Duraludon, so I'll play it safe here. Just Tailwind Max Darkness. This is why I love Duraludon, though, in this format, right? So many people are using Redirection, whether it be Togekiss, Indeedee, Amoonguss. So the ability to just ignore all of those with Stalwart is just super, super nice. I don't know. It might have been better not to have Max their turn 1. They don't switch out, though, because I thought one play they could make is go Pincurchin, Fake Out turn 1 to break my Sash. But actually, that would never really make much sense, I think. Oh, just going for Helping Hand, okay. Helping Hand makes me think it's Sashed. Expanding Force. If it's not Sashed, my opponent's in a ton of trouble, I think. Because I get the KO and I get the Spadef drop onto the Indeedee. Either way, even if it's Sashed, though, I don't think it's that bad for us. Let's see. No, it's not Sashed. Wow. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, I think Duraludon is really good in the metagame again. Ability to just, like, do so... Like, especially because, like, Whimsicott's just such a good partner with Duraludon, right? Like, you have Tailwind support, which is obviously really good because Duraludon's kind of like a... You know, it's pretty fast, but it's still outsped by a lot of the metagame, especially things like Dragapult or Not Togekiss, sorry. Dragapult or Cinderace, for example. So the Tailwind support helps there. One thing I'm not running currently is Dazzling Gleam, but you could run Dazzling Gleam to get around, for example, Indeedee Hatterene and just go like Max Steel Spike Dazzling Gleam on turn 1. I think that's a pretty cool tech that combos nicely. Pincurchin just comes out, so I don't know. I mean, my opponent doesn't have any offense right now, right? Which is in our favor. Like, I feel like the Raichu is the main sweeper there. Okay. What we want to do is basically secure another knockout right now. We know Indeedee is back to neutral. I have Rillaboom and Togekiss in the back, so I still have to be careful about Pincurchin, which could even potentially Dynamax. I'm fine just going for Max Darkness here, and we don't even need a Tailwind, obviously. Just Moonblast, I guess. That covers. My opponent, the only switching you have is Azumarill, but that doesn't really want to take a Moonblast. I could even actually Fate Tears Max Lightning Indeedee. That might be smarter. With Terrain being up, I think this is enough to pick up the KO. And it covers for the Azumarill switch-in, which is what I want to aim for here. Pincurchin protects, that's fine by me. Okay. Might be a... No, I was going to say it might be a double protect, but Pincurchin is obviously slower, so it shouldn't be. If I don't pick up the one-hit KO here, though, I look a little silly, so maybe Indeedee actually has enough special bulk to survive this, but I was thinking -2 electric terrain boosted, it's enough to KO. Perfect, okay. Yeah, so the logic behind that is I'm already doing enough damage, and Azumarill is the one thing that could switch in there, and if you do switch in Azumarill, you just lose the game off that. So, Dragapult's the last one, yeah, I don't know. My opponent just is not in a great spot, to be honest, especially because we still have Tailwind up. You probably need a max guard the Dragapult here, honestly. And since Pincurchin protected, quite frankly, I'm just going to target that slot down with a Warm Wind and a Fake Tears. The logic for this is I know I have Togekiss in the back. Like, I think you Dynamax the Dragapult, but if I'm my opponent, I'm Dynamaxing and max guarding to not eat up a max Warm Wind. So I can snipe down the Pincurchin and then close out the game with another Tailwind. So yeah, Dragapult maxes. I think this is a good example, though, of like teams that like rely very heavily on around like supporting one Pokemon, right? In this game, it was the Raichu, and by sniping Raichu turn 1, my opponent just wasn't able to do anything. So I'm curious if there is a Focus Sash on the team. Yeah, Dragapult max guards there. Even if the Dragapult doesn't max guard, like Pincurchin protected last turn, and I know if they don't go for the double protect, it's just like pretty much instantly over. Even if they go for the double, Dragapult can't pick up a one-hit KO onto either of my Pokemon right now. So this was pretty much a perfect game, I would say. And this is why one of the many reasons why I think Duraludon is still very good in this format. So now we can just Moonblast Draco Meteor. Have we taken damage yet? We have not. So if we don't miss Draco Meteor, it will be a perfect game, which would be pretty cool. I can't remember the last time we had one of these on Road to Ranked. But this was just the Duraludon show, quite frankly. I don't think my opponent really had anything for it. Nice, okay. Let's see if we hit the Draco Meteor. Moonblast itself. I should have just gone for Dark Pulse. Why even risk the miss? Although I don't think we were KOing without the crit there, yeah. Because if you're a bulky Dragapult with weakness policy, which is exactly what my opponent is here, don't want to take that risk. You know, one interesting play my opponent could have gone for if they're expecting me to attack the Dragapult was just Protect instead of Max Guard, but I'm thinking maybe they don't have Protect. Because if I Protect, then I at least activate your weakness policy. But yeah, we get our first perfect game in recent memory. So that's pretty hype. I think Azumarill, my opponent had what, like Azumarill and Togekiss? Neither of those were that great to go up against for Duraludon either. That's why I think like Assault Vest is really important on this Duraludon set, because it allows me to have the coverage of, or like, I mean, obviously you could run for Attack Duraludon, but normally I'd want to run Protect if you're running something like Life Orb. But by running Assault Vest, you know, I'm able to fit Max Darkness and Max Lightning onto the slot, which I think is really nice. So yeah, we definitely take those. Otherwise, as I was saying, when you're playing with a team that's very reliant around like one Pokemon, I guess the Raichu was going for Expanding Force turn 1, but even if it did, it wouldn't have been too bad for us, to be honest. You really need to protect those Pokemon properly, and because Raichu's more frail, doesn't give you too many options. For example, Pincurchin ended up being pretty useless other than just setting up terrain, but the terrain actually helped me more than my opponent in that last game. So this next team is a really interesting take on Sun. You've got Torkoal Venusaur, you've got Duraludon, which I think is actually very scary, as well as Cinderace. The one good thing is that they don't have like Whimsicott. I think a Whimsicott thrown onto that team over Togekiss would be immensely scary, but it's still a lot of big threats all at once. So like, similar to what we learned from yesterday, my opponent is, I think, going to probably focus playing around Duraludon, at least as a lead. Because when you think of how to counter Rain, it starts with Duraludon, right? They're definitely going to have Torkoal for weather control. So I can see like Duraludon Togekiss, Duraludon Cinderace with Venu Torkoal in the back. Yeah, so once again, I don't think I've prioritized Rain, at least not as a lead, but it could be a pretty good late game option for us here. Like one mode I'm thinking of is Whimsicott Duraludon with Kingdra Poly in the back. Rillaboom definitely doesn't make any sense here, I think. I definitely want Politoed. And I think, I don't know, Kingdra's still really strong here. Togekiss is okay. But yeah, I mean, this is a Rain team. I'd like to feature Rain more, so I can at least say I brought it to 2 of our 3 games today. But if anything, I think these games should also highlight why like Rain isn't incredibly strong. Politoed Kingdra is just really exploitable as a lead, and there's so many Pokemon that individually counter it, like Duraludon or Azumarill, in which like there just aren't great ways around it. So it means the rest of your team needs to be really built to beat it. They go with Venusaur Togekiss, which I think is a strong option here as well. On the right side, it means they can't go for Fake Out onto us, or there's no Fake Out or anything. So I mean, it's a free Tailwind, I think. Like what I want to do is actually Tailwind Max Lightning the Venusaur so that I don't get put to sleep. Yeah. Because right now what I'm worried about is you switch Togekiss out into Torkoal, you hit a Sleep Powder on my Max Duraludon, and then things get a little dicey. It's just like too safe of a play. I don't know. I could also just like Steel Spike the Togekiss. I do think like Torkoal probably wants to switch out here, so I don't know. I'm leaning towards playing in safe turn 1. Although I guess I'm not max speed, am I? So maybe it's actually better to just taunt. Yeah, I'm down to just taunt here. I'm going to just taunt and Steel Spike, actually, because if I KO Togekiss, that's one of the biggest threats to Rain out of the way. And they stay in, which is good. Unless they go for Follow Me Sleep Powder, which is a possibility. That's why I wanted a Tailwind Max Lightning, actually, to cover the option of them staying in. So let's see if they risk the Sleep Powder here. I think they do, because they're not maxing. So, not happy about that, but maybe they didn't go for Follow Me. Worst case is Follow Me Sleep Powder here. Oh, no, they do max. It's either just slower Venusaur or Togekiss maxing. Okay, I gotta say I didn't expect that, but maybe I'm okay with that. Yep, it's GMax Venusaur. Okay. Then I'm alright with this. KOing Togekiss is a really big deal, because it sets the way for Life Orb Kingdra in this late game. I think Togekiss protects. No protect, okay. If it's not Babiri, this might just KO. It is Babiri, though. Okay, I haven't seen Babiri Kiss in a while, but that's actually really good for my opponent, because I'm expecting just Ooze, and this means I don't get Tailwind up, which might be really bad for us. Yeah, it would have KO'd without the Babiri. This is why Venusaur, I think, is... Well, it's actually kind of underplayed right now, in my opinion. I think it's really good, because you have the option of maxing turn 1. There's the threat of GMax. Oh, they actually go for Yawn, which is really good for us, because we can just max Lightning next turn. And Vine Lash. Okay. That is fine by me, honestly. I will take that. We're definitely max Lightning into the Togekiss now and Tailwinding. That could have been a lot worse, in my opinion. Like, Vine Lash is really curious to see there. I'm definitely Tailwinding here, because I want the speed control for the late game, right? Because I suspect there will be Torkoal in the back. We definitely max Lightning here. And we don't target Venusaur, because Venusaur could max guard. So, Babiri Yawn is, you know, a really good set. A lot of people were running that earlier. The Venusaur Vine Lash was curious because you're not getting much residual damage. You're not getting any onto Whimsicott, and Duraludon's likely going to max turn 1. Normally when you play with things that are, you know, have that residual effect, whether it be Colossal, Venusaur, Blastoise, you know, for example, Charizard, what you often want to do is kind of stagger your max and like wait for your opponent's max to end. They just follow me here, which is totally fine by me. So I get my terrain up, I prevent the sleep, and I get Tailwind up. So this could have gone a lot worse. If Tailwind, they just went, turn 1, if they just went Max Ooze, Dazzling Gleam into Whimsicott, we'd be in a much worse spot. But fortunately, they didn't go for that. The Yawn actually ends up being wasted completely, and we pick up the knockout onto Togekiss, which is, in my opinion, one of the bigger threats to that Kingdra that I had in the back, because you can just redirect attacks away. And obviously Dazzling Gleam is just a 2-hit KO as well. So I will happily take that. And it's just Max Quake. Okay, so they did have Max Quake turn 1. I guess they just wanted to start getting that effect off. But yeah, Venusaur without a Life Orb, not doing very much damage. Does have a Spadef boost though, which is actually really big. As you see, my whole team is special. It's perhaps one of the weaknesses in composing this team. I think Togekiss is probably the slot that could be replaced the most, but... Either way, that's still a pretty solid couple of turns, all things considered. I probably want to launch a Fake... Actually, the fact we're faster than Venusaur is such a big deal as well, right? Because, like, even if you bring out Torkoal now with Tailwind up, I can just Fake Tier something. I'm leaning towards Fake Tier's Wormwind just onto the Torkoal, try to pick up the KO onto that, but I think a Protect from there is relatively likely as you Max Quake into Duraludon. So many conditions right now as well. Yeah. Safer to Fake Tears Max Wormwind the Venusaur. I just think Torkoal protecting here is pretty obvious, but I don't even know if they respect the Fake Tears here enough, honestly. I'm going to try to snipe the Torkoal, because if we get it, it's just a like game-winning play. Like, it wins us the game instantly, in my opinion. Because we've already gotten rid of Togekiss, which was one of the bigger threats. It is probably safer to double up onto Lavinu. Okay, they don't protect. Perfect. I also think a lot of people just kind of forgot about Fake Tears Whimsicott as a whole, so a lot of people just don't respect it. And, like, yeah, don't consider it a possibility. So this should pick up the 1-hit KO. Oh, it's sashed! Oh, dear. Now that is interesting. Especially if you went for, like, Ooze and Heat Wave here. They just Quake, though. That's good. Yeah, I think Max Ooze Heat Wave would have been better for my opponent there. Duraludon hangs on too, nice. Although it's obviously fainting, either from Torkoal or the Vines. So that means Venusaur's not sashed. Probably Assault Vest then, right? We never hit it, but that is the only item that makes sense here. Huh. Okay. I have to be very careful about the Weather War right now, though. If I lose the Weather War, I just lose the game. So I think here my opponent's going to switch out the Torkoal. Taunts over, Max is over, I bring in Kingdra. Oh. Oh, I didn't expect Sash. That is the one thing that could have saved my opponent, but a very cool tech. You know, most people like Sash makes a lot of sense too, because if you're running like a Venusaur based team, yeah, you want specifically for scenarios like this, right? Okay, one more turn of Vine Lash. He's at +2 Speed Def. I don't have Protect. Here's the problem, right? I think you really should switch Torkoal out. If I'm my opponent, I switch Torkoal out and then target Whimsicott with a Grass type attack. That covers the Poly switch in. So like I'm leaning towards Fake Tears here onto the Venusaur, and Hurricane's not it, right? I feel like Politoed should survive a Grass type attack though, so I think we switch out into Politoed here anyway and just Hurricane, or sorry, Muddy Water. Who are their switch-ins? Could be Duraludon. Either way, Venusaur's not the target right now. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for Muddy Water. I think you have to switch to Torkoal or Protect here. I'd rather see it Protect. Yeah, Sash threw everything off. I want to say it's Assault Vest Venusaur too, because obviously it doesn't have Sash. He didn't go for Sleep Powder turn 1, so I don't think it's Wide Lens. And Assault Vest would make this most sense. It's not Life Orb either. Yep, Torkoal switches out. So that was expected. Now the question is what's coming in. Cinderace, that's really good, because we'll just pick up a KO onto that. So if my opponent did not make the read of going for a Grass type attack onto the Politoed, and if they don't pick up the KO, it should just be game over. Because now we'll just have won the Weather War. Okay. Accuracy drop here would be huge too, but I'm not counting on it. Okay. Nice, they go for Sludge Bomb. Okay, we should be good then. I think you need to go for the Grass type attack there on a Politoed, but my opponent might have been fearing us. That's a sick animation, by the way. Yeah, I think my opponent might have been fearing us. Or they might have had like Leaf Storm as their Grass type attack, and they didn't want to take like too much residual. So our Berry gets activated, but now we can just switch Poly out and back in. I think Kingdra should seal this up. What's scary is actually like Kingdra's our only answer against the Venusaur, right? So I'm actually not sure we have this one yet, to be honest. So we still have to be careful. Especially curious on what Grass type attack the Venusaur has. I mean, that was the best case scenario, but it's still kind of tricky. One turn of Tailwind left. Ooh, the one turn of Tailwind left makes me actually consider Perish Songing as an option here. The Perish Song makes... No, I don't think it makes much sense without Protect on Whimsicott. So I'm just going to switch into Poly and... Whether I Protect or Money... It's safer to Protect here. Yeah. I'm just worried about not having enough offense against this Venusaur and it KOing us in return with the Sludge Bomb. Even with help... Because it has those 2 special defense boosts. Today is the Max Quake episode, right? Like, our opponents having Max Quake made this a little tougher. Although, Max Quake was always expected on that Venusaur student. They commit the Dynamax turn 1. Best case here is they Protect Torkoal, target Kingdra with Venusaur. If they do that, we win the game. I didn't attack here because if I attack into the Torkoal, which is protecting, then Venusaur targets me, we're screwed. But Torkoal protects, yeah, exactly. Alright, show me the target into Kingdra and we're good. Perfect. Okay. I think we should be good here then. Tailwind's petered out. 4 turns of Sun. I think what we do here is Moonblast actually instead of Torkoal and switch Kingdra out into Politoed. Yeah. Because what that allows us to do, I think you have to respect Kingdra as the threat right now. I think you have to target that slot. Even if you don't and you target the Whimsicott, then I have Politoed Kingdra out next against you. Yeah. So, I think we're good here now. This is a really intense game. Like, Weather Wars are super intense, and the Focus Sash made this a lot harder. But once again, I think, yeah, this is exactly why I'm never leading Politoed Kingdra. I think it's so easy to lose in this format if you just outright lead Politoed Kingdra. It's still really good as a late game option, but a lot of players have, you know, pretty easy answers around it. So we finally win the Weather War, but we're up against +2 Speed F Venusaur. That being said, we have 3 Pokemon. If Venusaur does not target the Whimsicott here, we can just go for, you know, Fake Tears, Hurricane the next turn. They do target the Whimsicott though. Okay, nice target. Nice target. I wonder if they were expecting the Politoed to switch in that slot. So this is still scary, right? Because I don't know if we KO Venusaur with like Helping Hand Hurricane, and then they probably KO us in return. I could also just Protect Perish Song here. Oof. Or Protect Scald, gives me a burn chance. Or just Helping Hand Hurricane. I Still don't know the item on this thing. I don't know if it's Assault Vest. Like, I don't know how well it really takes the +2 Muddy Water. We're gonna faint from Giga Drain soon, so I think we have to Helping Hand Hurricane. Yeah. And hope to survive, basically, in return. But I honestly think Venusaur survives this, especially if it's Assault Vested, which was my guess. That was a good Giga Drain the last turn. Oh, that was enough to KO. Okay. That was a crit. If it was AV, that obviously mattered. If not, even without AV, that might have mattered. That was kind of anticlimactic. I really wanted to see it play out there. I'm not sure the Venusaur has enough offense to KO the Kingdra there in the end with Sludge Bomb or Giga Drain, and if not, then obviously another Helping Hand Hurricane just picks up the KO. So that was obviously really, really close, but yeah, we did end up getting... Oh, we can see the team here, so yeah. Oh, it was Weakness Policy Venusaur. Okay, for that reason, then I actually want to do the damage calc because we can here to see whether or not it mattered. I want to say it doesn't then, but they were obviously going to KO us in return. Yeah, because we did get 2 really big critical hits in today's episode, and I think it's important to evaluate like games like this where it's like if the RNG does matter, then what can you do better so that you're not in a position to lose from RNG, right? So they were at +2 Spadef. We had Helping Hand. Did they have any bulk? They had a lot of bulk. 187 and 121 Spadef. Yeah, so that crit actually definitely mattered because they were max HP Venusaur. So they weren't weakness ball. They weren't Assault Vest, which I thought. So then the question is, who did they target that turn? Did they go for the Kingdra? You would think so, right? But they might have been like, oh, Kingdra might protect here as Polito tries to go for an attack. However, I think that was not a very favorable position for us in the end, and we needed that crit to win. So not a great episode in terms of, I don't know, like, that crit against the Riolu, like, we found plays to win in the end, but I felt like we were pretty behind, and maybe that's because we, like, Rain just wasn't super good against, like, the opponents that we brought it in, right? Although that first game wasn't really Rain, but yeah. That was definitely a favorable crit there for us in the end. So I don't know, like what I could have done was also the turn that I KO'd the Torkoal. I could have just gone for like Muddy Water, for example, and switched the Whimsicott into Politoed. I was really surprised my opponent targeted the Whimsicott slot that turn, honestly, but I guess they were respecting the fake tiers, which makes a lot of sense. So in that slot, yeah, I think it might have been better, because I really thought Kingdra was getting targeted down there. I was like, if you target Kingdra, then Fake Tears just wins the game. So in that slot, it might have been better to have switched the Whimsicott out into the Politoed and just Muddy Water. The only thing I was worried about was, 1, a Muddy Water miss, and 2, Venusaur landing like a Sludge Bomb to KO us in return. Actually, I could do that Sludge Bomb calc onto Kingdra right now, too, because I'm curious. This Venusaur wasn't very offensive, though, so I don't think it would have been enough to pick up the KO onto Kingdra. Looks like it has, like 92? 94 special? Yeah, 94 special attack. Or, sorry, 84 special attack EVs. So, Sludge Bomb from this thing was doing... It was not going to do enough to Kingdra. So, now after seeing the team, like, basically the correct play would have been to have stayed in with Kingdra, gone for Hurricane onto Torkoal, switch the... Whimsicott out into Politoed, and then just go, like, protect Kingdra, sack the Politoed, bring the Whimsicott back in, and then Fake Tears Hurricane. So, yeah. We end up winning all the games today, but I think these games definitely were really close. I don't know if I had, like, significantly better plays, but in the end, like, the teams... My opponents just had some really cool attacks, and so that's why Best of 1 can be pretty tricky sometimes. They played really well, too, so I really feel like we should have lost more of the games today, but we just had some, favorable crits there in the end. I think the... yeah, I didn't expect the Venusaur to be max HP. It's a super interesting spread. Yeah, weakness policy, also not what I was anticipating. Without the weakness policy, we probably would have won there in the end, but because it was weakness policy specifically, it would have obviously had enough damage to KO the Kingdra. So, yeah. That's going to be it for this one, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed some really intense games, and RNG was definitely on our side this time around, so I'm expecting it to turn around sometime soon, but we'll take what we can get. Either way, thank you as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys soon. All right, peace.